a second. Don't stay on the screen. Don't stay on the screen.
Behind Loki, or next to Loki.
All right, I think we're ready. Technical setup is all ready to go. So thank you everybody for registering for our second HubSpot Masterclass. We had an overwhelming response. It's growing, but an interesting thing we noticed is that it's growing online in particular. So a lot of people are watching live on our YouTube stream. And for anybody who watches it afterwards, feel free to ask us questions. Maybe shoot us an email or on social media. Obviously, you're not going to ask us questions live, but we'll send the links around to everybody that registered for the event, and you'll get to watch it at another time. So, I'm Nathan George. I'm the Managing Director of Pixeled. We're a digital marketing agency here in Geelong. And this is Paola Pastagno, our Digital Marketing Specialist. Welcome, Paola.
Hi, everyone.
And today, we're going to talk about one of the hubs, is the term that they use, of HubSpot called Marketing Hub. Just a quick background though, this is our team here at Pixeled. We're broken up into a few teams of branding, digital marketing and website development. And about 6 years ago we discovered HubSpot, and it was a big change for my business. I've had a few aha moments where I've taken on something completely and it's changed my business completely, and HubSpot was one of those moments. And about 1 year after adopting it, we actually became a HubSpot agency partner. So a HubSpot agency partner basically is connected with HubSpot, with engineers, with their sales teams to provide the best solutions possible. So not only did we adopt it for our marketing, our systems, we thought it was so good that we should be sharing it with all of our clients. So that's kind of our backstory.
So as Nathan said before, we actually ran our first masterclass on HubSpot, and it was all about introducing to the CRM. So we're actually quite excited about today because I feel like you're going to start seeing the value of that first masterclass even further. So the CRM is basically the portal where you can store all your customers and lead information. But I feel like sometimes it's hard to see the actual value that storing that information has when you just see like a contact record where it's like, yeah, you got a location, a phone number, they saw an email of yours. But I think today we're going to see how you can actually use that information to fuel your marketing activities and get better results.
Better results, save time, save money maybe.
Yeah. So marketers are on average using more than 12 different tools, and some are using more than 31 tools to manage campaigns and data. So we decided to start with this quote because I actually think it really summarizes a problem that all marketers and business are facing, which is nowadays we need to be in so many channels, so many platforms, and that comes with a lot of work throughout different tools and different platforms. And that probably the main consequence is that then you ended up using all these tools, all your data is quite disconnected, and then it's quite hard to actually show revenue, show results. And I think one of the main reasons why we recommend HubSpot to our clients is because it gives you that. It gives you the ability to run all your marketing assets under just one platform. And from an internal perspective, I think it's easier just to train your staff to be pro in just one tool instead of jumping around in different places. And if you have a platform that combines everything, that combines all the data so you can see actually what's working, what's not working, your team will be working better, and if they're working better, probably your customers as well will have a better experience.
And as a business owner, it's better from a financial perspective because
That's
I'm
right.
always reviewing. We've got so many subscriptions as a business to all these tools and things, and I was paying for things like a meeting scheduling tool, I was paying for social media scheduling, and the subscriptions quickly stack up, but none of these tools talked either, so I was paying more for no real benefit. So one of the fantastic things is about consolidating financially, but data-wise as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, sorry, that's you.
That's me. The HubSpot ecosystem, as I said, is broken down into hubs, and they're designed to suit the teams within your business. So the first one today is the marketing hub. So obviously that's for bringing and attracting people into your business, nurturing them through, with activities, content, so you can get them to the second hub, which would be for your sales team. The sales hub is all about managing contacts, opportunities, tracking these opportunities in sales pipelines, hopefully converting them through to a sale, but then measuring all of that along the way. So tools for sales reps to use to communicate at scale, to systemize your sales process, but then measure it at the end, which is the power of having the data there. The third hub is for when you've become a customer, not necessarily, but mostly for when people are actually a customer of yours. We want to track those inquiries. How well are your customer service teams responding to inquiries, whether that be through your social media channels, whether that's through forms or even an email inbox. We can track all of that. We have reports ourselves on time to first response, time to solve an issue. And a lot of the systems are automated to allow people to communicate back and forth, remind them that we're waiting on them to answer a question. And it also includes customer feedback surveys, so you can find out the sentiment of your customers. Are they happy with the service that you're providing? That could be a satisfaction survey on a particular thing that you did, or it could be an NPS score, which is about measuring the likelihood that they would refer you to another business. That's more of a long-term customer feedback. The fourth hub is all about content. So starting from maybe building your website on HubSpot. Not many people know you can actually build a website on HubSpot. It's a fantastic CMS, very intuitive, very easy to use, and the builder for building web pages is exactly the same as building your emails. So really simple, very clean, and we love handing it over to clients because all of our clients can take HubSpot websites and run with them. It's also great for some content generation tools. It has some amazing AI smarts now for generating articles, even just generating email subject lines and content. You can do a remix, so you can remix a blog post into a social media post, into an email newsletter. So lots of very cool tools for publishing content. And I guess it helps businesses with limited resources scale their marketing efforts. The last one is lesser known, lesser talked about. It's Operations Hub. It's all about data, manipulating data, syncing data with other platforms. It is intended for big data, so not for small business generally. It's generally intended for companies that have a lot of inquiries or a lot of data. So it's lesser known, and we won't really go into it too much today.
Yeah, so what to expect about today? So today's masterclass is going to be all about Marketing Hub. We're going to be talking about the marketing approach. Oh, sorry. Is my microphone not working?
Right.
Nathan's. Sorry, 1 second. Well, actually, if mine was working, I can keep going. So I was saying we're going to talk about the marketing approach that HubSpot embrace and propose. And then we're going to dive deep into some key features that we're really excited to show you what they can do. And then if we have time, in the end, we'll do a quick run through other tools and features that are available so you can know all the stuff that you can do in that platform.
Hopefully you can hear me now.
Yeah.
So, sorry, apologies for that. So this quote?
Yeah, so the biggest threat to your company's growth is in your competitors. It's a bad customer experience. I think we see it even in ourselves and customers that sometimes we're so worried about what our competitors are doing, and we invest so much time thinking who has the best website or who's running the best ads. And it's good to put energy there, but sometimes the actual threat, it might be way closer to home, and it could be a poor customer experience. We were talking about with Nathan a couple of examples what happened to your house.
I mean, if anyone's ever done a house renovation and they've made a bunch of inquiries on a website, the majority of trade services don't even respond to those inquiries. I've found, like I would have given it dozens of inquiries. So that's the most basic level possible, is just responding to that initial inquiry. So if you get that right, you can automate some systems for that. But then beyond that initial inquiry, maybe nurturing them, providing an educational experience so that you're actually helping the customer along their way. that's what HubSpot's all about, and it can provide a much better customer experience. Hopefully better than not responding at all.
Yeah, it doesn't work exactly like they used to. We need to go a little bit further. And another problem of the traditional funnels nowadays is that they were so focused on conversion. So let's say I'm doing like an ad campaign on Facebook, and you bought from me, and that's it. I got the sale, that's where it ends. So there's no follow-up, no momentum. And that's a problem nowadays, because we believe that a business, in order to grow, is not enough to get new clients. It's all about delighted customers, repeated buyers that come back to you and also tell others about you. And that brings us to the flywheel model, which is what HubSpot embraces and recommends. So it's going a little bit further from the funnel and adding an extra step. Basically, it has 3 stages: attract stage, engage stage, and the delight stage. So the attract stage is all about trying to bring the right people in, but not by being super salesy or super pushy. It's just by providing valuable content, helpful content. And that could be, for example, I wrote a really nice blog answering common questions that I know my audience might have, or by giving you a lead magnet, which is what we call, for example, a free guide with advice. Then the engage stage is all about how we keep nurturing those leads, those people that are interested in us, how we keep building trust, and how we can start having more conversations. So maybe we could run like a masterclass like this one, so we can engage a little bit further. But then when we get to the delight stage, and that conversion, whatever it was, happened, we just don't drop it there. We just think about other activities where we can, for example, ask you a survey and how you feel. We can develop a loyalty program. So basically the flywheel model, what it says is like all the customers that were delighted is what it actually keeps these wheels spinning. So it's all focused on more like long-term sustainable growth. And I think I found this quote, and I think it really summarizes well. So basically the flywheel model, in order to grow, is all based in relationships and not in transactions. So HubSpot, what it does is, first of all, they propose and recommend this approach, and then it gives you this platform so you can run all those activities and try to reduce the friction between those 3 stages, so that wheel can keep spinning and therefore your business can keep growing.
It's a much nicer model than the old-fashioned stop and start, churn and burn your customers. It's providing genuine, ongoing nurturing. So today, people don't really like being sold to. Everyone can detect when they're being sold to. You can tell when a phone number you don't recognise rings. You can tell when somebody, how are you doing today, on the phone. You get that instinct up and you get your back up and your defences up. And I don't like selling. I personally hate selling. It's uncomfortable for me. And something changed for me, and this was actually a big part of moving to HubSpot. I don't sell anymore, I help people. And that was a light bulb moment for me. I feel authentic and genuine about my sales efforts now, because I'm not going in there to run any tricks or sales tricks or tactics that somehow get people to buy. I'm actually doing something that helps these potential customers. And I'm happy to help customers even if they're not going to become a customer in the long run, because I enjoy doing that much more than I enjoy selling. So that's kind of what new age marketing is becoming, really. The old tactics, they don't work, and we have to adapt to this new way.
So what is Marketing Hub? So we were talking about the flywheel, so we can think about HubSpot as the engine that helps you that wheel to keep spinning. So basically it's a platform that has a lot of tools inside, and tools that will help you to attract the right people, engage them in the right moment with the right message, and then delight them with some automations that are available.
So based on those flywheel stages that we just talked about, these are some of the tools of Marketing Hub, and they all kind of fit. Some of them apply to multiple stages, but they all kind of fit in that flywheel. And the idea is that these tools reduce that friction so you can build momentum. So in the attract stage, we're trying to bring people into the business. We're using SEO tools to be found in search or even AI results now. We might be using social media management, so we're scheduling posts and tracking the performance of those posts and bringing them in through our social channels. And we like to connect ads as well. You might be doing some paid advertising, and it's important that you're not only tracking the results of your advertising, but you can use HubSpot's tools to track the right people as well. So you can build audiences within HubSpot of people that have maybe visited certain pages and only target those people. So really powerful. You can tie all of that together with campaigns. So by creating campaigns, we might group activities from each one of those 3 channels. And so we can track and measure the performance. So say if I did a summer sale campaign, I can tag my social media posts about the summer sale, the blog posts, the ads, and then I can get a report of how many contacts that campaign generated, how much we spent, how much revenue we generated
across all the channels.
Across all of those channels that I've linked to that campaign. So you can see now we're dragging in all this data, and it becomes so much more powerful and useful if it's all in the one place, rather than just going to ads, just going to social media, just going to Google Analytics. At the engage phase, we've got the contact, we're trying to get them more engaged with us, more interested in what we have to offer. We provide email marketing, but we're not just doing blasted generic emails, we're sending the right emails to the right people at the right time. So it's about helpful information again, where they're at in their journey. So we might have some indication on actions they've taken on their website initially. We'll give them the information they're looking for. So if they've downloaded my website brochure, I'm not sending them the Google Ads newsletter, I'm sending them something about websites and how they can improve their website. Forms and CTAs, that's how we actually gather some of the data, but we can use call to actions. If you haven't heard of CTAs, it's call to actions. At the end of a page, you might prompt somebody to do something, take some kind of action that you want them to take, but it could also be in the middle of a page. We can experiment with different call to actions for different buyers at different times in their journey. So at the start, we might have a call to action of download our brochure. But if they've already downloaded the brochure, there's no point in asking them to do that again. So the website changes and it now says, book a meeting with Nathan. Maybe they've already booked a meeting with Nathan, and then we can maybe say, well, check out our Masterclass series. So we can just keep sort of adding to that story so that they're not just getting this generic, unpersonalized experience. Lead scoring we'll talk about a little bit, but once you generate a lot of leads, you can't actually keep up with it all. You can't contact every single lead that you get, and you might not want to either. It might be a bad use of resources. So scoring, we can set up some rules around what leads we most want to speak to and apply a score to those people. So if they've been to the website 10 times, maybe that's a good sign that they are actually interested in what we have to offer. If they've been one time and then never been again, less so. So we can use all of these other actions and build up a score, and you decide the threshold of that score that you want to contact those contacts. Chatbots and live chat was very much a thing, and people like to communicate with businesses in different ways: phone, email, live chat. But we found that most businesses can't man live chat quick enough for customers' expectations. I think people just drop off after 30, 60 seconds. You've got no chance. I couldn't answer it quick enough because I'm busy through the day. That's now transitioned in the last year with HubSpot. We now have AI customer agents. And we'll talk a bit about that later, but just briefly, an AI customer agent is like a ChatGPT experience for the customer. They get to talk to somebody, but it's using your information, your data from your website, from your CRM, from your knowledge base, from your support tickets if you're having that, and it can answer questions for you in a more conversational tone, and it's resonating really well with customers and businesses alike. And I guess it allows your customer service teams to focus on the more complex inquiries and not just handling low-level inquiries. In the delight phase, we're trying to take that extra step. We're trying to give them a wonderful experience, something they weren't expecting. We're using workflows, which are automations, to trigger things. So that might be on a basic level, just triggering an email at the right time. It might be triggering an internal notification to a salesperson to call that person at the right time. So if somebody has downloaded the brochure and then 2 days later comes back to the website page or our portfolio page, maybe I get a little notice, hey, you should call John, he's just been back after downloading the brochure. So workflows are extremely powerful. Smart content, if you build your website on HubSpot, we can build smart content that shows certain things to certain people. Like I was saying about call to actions, it's a similar concept. Don't show the salesy stuff if they've already bought, show them something that's relevant to where they're at in the journey. And finally, email marketing, again, we use email marketing to delight all the time. Thank you letters, offers, all kinds of things. maybe when someone wasn't expecting it, you know, it just adds that that touch, but you've got to do it in a personalized way. So using the CRM data.
Onboarding is a great one for email marketing in the light. Someone who's purchased your services, but then they get an onboarding sequence so they can actually use your product or get more support.
So we're going to dive into some of the key features. We've just chosen a few that we think are the most important to start with. And we're going to demo live in the portal. Wish me luck, fingers crossed, technicalities wise, but here we go. All right, so the first thing you want to use is forms. It's in Marketing Hub. It's the most basic thing, but this is how you're going to capture the initial data, right? So most websites would have an inquiry form. Every website builder, WordPress, has a form builder. The benefit of the HubSpot form is that it's native to HubSpot. The data goes straight into the CRM, no issues there, and it's very easy to build the forms and build the custom fields that you might want to collect about customers. So obviously an inquiry might just have name, email, phone number, inquiry, but you could add your own fields. For example, home builders, when are you looking to build? For childcare centres, where are you looking to get childcare? So you can build on that data, and they have an advanced feature called progressive fields. So say if somebody's filled out what their company name was when they downloaded your brochure, then they're ready to make an inquiry, we don't ask them for their company name again. We don't ask them for the same information they've already provided. So we can have backup questions, backup fields. So then maybe I ask them how many employees are in your company the next time, or what industry are you in, or what's your job title? And so I'm just constantly chipping away. So someone who's just researching, they're downloading my guides, they're attending masterclasses, maybe they make an inquiry. Every time that they've submitted their information for that, I'm chipping away at data and gathering more intel about who they are and how I could maybe best serve them. So, wish me luck. There we go. Okay, so this is the form builder. So this is the form that we used for this masterclass. So when you signed up for this masterclass, you would have filled out the fields on this one. And it's just a pretty simple click and drag. I'm very bad when it's on the TV because there's a slight delay, but very easy to click and drag and build out the form, reposition, set columns, and you can choose like styling, follow-up messages, should it go somewhere. But one of the most intuitive and easy tools, I think, for building forms.
And you don't need any code. It's very easy to put in your website, which is great for marketers.
Yeah.
We don't do coding.
All right, so the next one is?
Email marketing. So we talked about this a little bit at the beginning, and I did run a masterclass on email marketing before, but I think I do love doing emails within HubSpot. From a technical point of view or design point of view, it's sort of similar to building a form. So it's a drag and drop. There's a lot of templates that you can use and easily adapt and style for your branding, colors and fonts. But I think what I do love the most is how personalized you can build your emails, but also all the options that you have in terms of segmentation. And by that I mean all the options that I have to choose the audience who I actually want to send those emails. I think there's a quote now about...
Oh, you want to...
I think so. Yeah. Personalized emails deliver 6 times higher transaction rate. We can go to the platform here if you want, Nate. Thank you. So, as we said before, people now demand way more content, and they want it faster, and they want to feel that it's personalized, right? But when I talk about personalization, I'm not talking only about receiving an email that has your name on it. I'm talking about how you can craft really relevant content. And this is all because it's great to have an email marketing tool within a platform that is already connected to your CRM. So basically all the data for all your clients and leads is all in there. And there's so many options that you can choose. Segmentation based on behavior. For example, I can filter and send emails to everyone who registered to our masterclasses, or I can see someone's been in this specific page about design services 30 times. So I'm just gonna send a specific email about that topic.
We know who registered to come here in person.
Yes.
And we know who registered to view online. So we send a completely different experience to those people.
Yeah, exactly. So actually there's so many options that I don't want to overwhelm with information, but the amount of stuff that you can filter, it's really impressive. This is just an example of how it looks like when you're building the email. We sent this email, I think, this week, but then again, it's not very complicated. You have all the options here, like text, image, video, call to actions, buttons, and you just basically drag them and you easily replace them. It's not really that complicated. I think it's quite intuitive, but as I said, you have a lot of templates that you can, just use, so you don't even have to worry about the whole layout. Another thing that I specifically love, and then again, is about data and information. It's very easy to see the performance of your individual emails, but also an overall of like your email health, to see, how many people are opening them, how many people are clicking and subscribing. So it's actually very easy, and definitely saves way more time in our daily activities. I think the tab of email health is in the next one.
Oh, yes.
So this one is just a demo, so it doesn't actually have any information, but if you want to have like an overview of your email health, you will see the main sort of KPIs like opens, clicks, how bounces, unsubscribe, spam reports, and you will get assigned a score. So HubSpot would also help you to know if you are on the right track and what you should aim at. They have different benchmarks, so you can tell you, oh no, you should be like on 5% here, or you should be in 10%. So it's actually really, really helpful, and we use this a lot with our clients.
All right, so lead scoring, as we were talking, I was mentioning before, it's all about maximizing our resources so that we're only communicating with the people that are more likely to engage, more likely to convert. So it's probably like businesses that have a sales team would really value this, but me personally as a business owner, my time is limited. So I really like to leverage this. So one of the lead scoring, there is a new AI lead scoring function, but I'm just going to show you the basic one. So effectively, we're just giving our own little scoring system to contacts that come into our CRM. So for example, I'm giving a plus 15 score to anyone who has an annual revenue greater than $3 million. We also ask questions about their buyer's journey of their customers. Is it a long buyer's journey, like buying a piece of real estate or buying a car or building a house? Or is it a short buying journey, like buying a cap or a t-shirt or a muffin? So we want to work with long buyer's journeys at Pixel, so we give that as plus 10. If they've got growth goals, that's another positive. But I could also add in negative criteria. Say if they would ask them what industry they're in, and it was Kung Fu schools. We don't like working with Kung Fu schools for whatever reason, we can maybe give them a negative score. After we have all this data collecting, I guess we set a threshold. We can bring up a list and order them by this score and only target the ones that have the highest score possible. But I could also automate things like, if I had a sales team other than myself, I could automate sending those leads that reach that threshold, send it to my salesperson for a follow-up task. So that's the power of lead scoring, very good for scaling and getting the most out of your sales efforts.
Sorry, and you can track, for example, people who submit their details to this masterclass. I think they got assigned 10 points. So there's so many actions that you can actually assign points to. How many people, how many times they visit your website, if they're opening the emails that you're sending to them. It's actually great. I do remember, this is very it brings me back memories, but it took me, my first job, it took me more than a year to develop a system where we can categorize our leads into the hot ones and the cold ones. And the fact that you can set up this in an hour, it's amazing. It's really helpful.
And it can be surprisingly simple. It doesn't need to be that advanced. Website visits that you mentioned is probably one of the easiest ones. I know that somebody who's been to my site, viewed 2 pages, downloaded the brochure and left, is just really looking around at the pricing. They're probably price driven, but somebody who's downloaded the brochure after 2 or 3 visits and they've visited multiple pages, they've gone into our case studies, looked at our blog articles, they're really researching and really engaged. So they're the types of people that I want to pick up the phone and call. Get me back.
All right, so marketing automation in action. So this is my favorite part, but I'll try to make it simple. So basically, Workflows is the platform where you can work within HubSpot to create those workflows, which is kind of like a journey. And I think this is where you can actually see all the power of having everything connected, because a journey that you can map for your leads or your customers can combine forms inquiries, email, text messages, meetings, bookings. There's a lot of options there. But I think this is so important because I think we have so many resources at the moment as marketers, but also the demand hasn't been higher. And I think the automation is actually what really help us to get there in the right time and satisfies that demand. And also save time for ourselves and our teams to make sure that certain processes are already looked after and we don't risk it to forget about calling someone or send an important document. So just as a simple example, I created that form on HubSpot and we pasted it in Pixel website, and then yeah, that's probably a better idea. And so basically, I said, all right, my workflow starts the moment someone submits this registration. So then some people opt in for coming in the office and other people chose to be online. So the email that they got immediately after that registration was a little bit different. And then the options are literally endless. I set up a delay, which is basically means please don't send this until like the day of the masterclass, for example, to send a reminder that this is happening. We send an extra email to the people join us online to let them know that we were going to be live in 10 minutes. So this is like an example of this sort of journey that you map up. So I didn't have to be today, 10 minutes before this, running to my computer, rushing, probably making a mistake, getting nervous, and then running here again. So this is just a small example, but Nathan now is going to talk to you about how you can actually scale further and do more complex workflows that really impact your marketing and the sales team sometimes too.
Yeah, so I guess email nurturing is the most simple one that we offer clients, and most people can understand that. But when we get to more advanced workflows, and you do need the higher tier HubSpot plans to do these, we can introduce conditional logic, where basically if somebody does something, then do this. So actually fairly similar to what, you know, if they chose online versus in person, but we can branch that out. So for me personally, in my sales process, if somebody has downloaded a brochure and then returns to the website, I get a fork in the road, and it depends on what page they return to, the different action that I might take. So you can start to build out this kind of full process in a workflow, and it saves me time. I don't need to do the research on what this customer is doing. It's all automated for me. So I get a notification, Billy, who downloaded this, is now looking at this. Give him a call now. Or Billy, who downloaded this, is now looking at this. Automatically send him this email instead, because that's not a sales opportunity, but it's a nurturing opportunity. So it really is limitless, and I've seen some workflows. This is a nice, clean, pretty one. I've seen ones that go very, very wide. So companies that are using automation, they tend to see 451% increase in qualified leads. Is that it's generating those leads, or is it just capturing the data and qualifying? I think that's more the case. I mean, obviously if your systems and your marketing systems are all working in tune, you will generate more leads. But as I was saying about the trades business that never even responds to their leads, they don't even really know they've got these leads half the time. So building a system like this allows you to capture the leads efficiently, measure that, run a process to nurture them through to a qualified stage. And there's no leaky holes in the bucket. You're not losing people. They're not missing out because you were running a masterclass right now and you couldn't answer that email, or off on holidays for 2 weeks and you didn't get to respond to them for 2 weeks, because the system takes care of that response. So a good example of a full end-to-end setup is an aged care service that we work with. And basically they had a bunch of staff that, you know, that they were providing services to their clients, to their customers, They weren't salespeople, they weren't even phone receptionists, they weren't even admin staff, but they had this job of answering inquiries when people came through the door, when people picked up the phone, or when they inquired through the website. And a lot of these inquiries were getting lost because they were all in individual people's heads. If that person left the business, all that information, that knowledge was gone. So there was no follow-up. If they were busy, there was no follow-up. So very hard to measure and understand how much opportunity they were missing out on. So we developed a registration process on their website, and it allowed that initial inquiry from families that were researching. It's obviously a big decision choosing an aged care facility. And we automated an onboarding process or first level onboarding process of just registering and getting information, an information pack. And that would then send them a series of emails to nurture them to book a tour of one of the facilities that they were interested in. And they would book that directly in the calendar using the HubSpot meeting scheduling tool, which means the manager of the facility didn't even need to pick up the phone, didn't need to speak to them until that person had booked a time in their calendar. Completely hands off. You set the parameters around, when they can book that tour and how much notice needs to be given, things like that. But it allowed the staff to focus on what they did best, is like talking to the people and actually talking about the service rather than doing all these follow-up salesy admin tasks. After the tour, we were able to have another follow-up sequence of like what they need to prepare for, what they need to do next to get into the system, how they need to apply to be at this facility. So that then led them right through to the actual the process of signing up. And we didn't stop there, because it's obviously great to get that end to end, and we can report on the success of individuals, facilities, individual people that took the tour. Even we can rate how well they converted tours. But we do an onboarding process so that when they arrive at the facility, they've already had this education experience. They know the people they're going to meet. They know the facility, the facilities of the facility. So just an all-round, much more pleasant and educated experience for their customers. So better for the customer, better for the staff. They get to focus their time and efforts on other things, better things. And financially, we're able to track, measure, optimize, and we have provided a significant impact to that business's bottom line.
Yeah, I think so. Just one thing to add, which I think is so important. We talk a lot about on marketing in general. We think about our audience, all the people, but actually HubSpot, I think, brings so many solutions also for your teams. Nathan was saying how it saves time to your team, so you focus on what you need. But you can also, a workflow can mean set up internal notifications, which I think is also a game changer. You might not be doing the manual work, but you get a notification of when is the right time to do a call, or they need a remind them about something. So I think that also helps a lot.
So integrations, we talked about bringing all this data into the one place. One of the benefits of HubSpot are its integrations. So there are thousands of integrations in the app marketplace. I'll show you that in just a second. So a good example might be your accounting system. You want to integrate Xero into your CRM so that sales reps or service staff can quickly see what invoices they've been sent. Maybe you might want to bring up a report or see the total revenue generated for certain contacts or companies. So that maybe you want to build a list of high value customers. So that's just one use case. There are other sort of more action driven integrations like an SMS system. So you might want to bring into your workflow about the tour bookings and remind people before they, an hour before the tour, that they've got it in an SMS. So there's a whole bunch of integrations. I'll quickly just show you what that looks like, but thousands of integrations, and you can just search for the most popular software is generally there, and you can find out if there's any costs, what HubSpot plan you need, and importantly, just here you can see what data that it synchronizes between the two platforms. That's probably a key piece. So just because there is an integration, sometimes people get caught on this fact. Just because there's an integration doesn't mean it works how you want or how you would expect. A lot of businesses operate differently. Xero is one of those businesses, one of those things that businesses use very differently. So just take note that it's contacts, invoices, and items only. And if you've got some different process with quotes, for example, is a common one that comes up, you will need a custom integration. So for a custom integration, you're going to need a developer like us at Pixeled that can take data from one system and then feed it into HubSpot in the way that you want, that suits your business, your structure. And you do that with a thing called an API. It's a little bit complex. It's probably not for your average business owner or marketer, so you probably will need a developer or an agency partner to do something like that, but just know that it is possible. Yeah, but it just needs to be designed well. And lastly, AI tools. There are a lot of AI tools in HubSpot. I think they're probably one of the leaders in the industry at bringing these tools to the market. They were the first tool to bring connected to ChatGPT, so you can prompt for data in your CRM directly in ChatGPT. But the thing I wanted to talk to today was that chatbot called a customer agent. So a customer agent is the one, it integrates on your website. I'll just show you it quickly. It might make more sense if I show you. So a little live chat. Look who's that on the cover of our site. And like a live chat to a live person, we've called ours just PixelBot, very original name, but it can answer questions that customers have, and it will use the information from my website. It's already scanned my website for all of the data on there. It understands support tickets that we've answered before to our customers. It understands other data in our CRM. We can upload files, brochures, guides, research data, whatever we like, and it can use that as a source of information as well. So I could do things like, how much is a website? And it's going to go away and find that information. It's linking through to the pages on my website where the customer can find that information. They're a lot more conversational. The previous chatbots that were automated were very rigid. You had to sort of have fork out every potential question and have multiple choice answers. Using AI, it's obviously more conversational, more fluid. It's a much better experience, and we're getting great feedback on this, and it's really taking off in the HubSpot space as the key AI tool when using HubSpot. Something to take note of, it does take credits. So there's a new concept, it only came out in the last week, of HubSpot credits. So you need credits to run the AI tools. So every time a AI chatbot answers a customer inquiry, it's basically going to cost you $1. Comparing that to other tools like Salesforce's Einstein, that's $2 per customer inquiry. So this is about, again, letting customer service teams focus on the more in-depth questions, the more heavy lifting, and allowing AI to very economically scale those teams to answer those initial low-level inquiries that are, a lot of them are just repeatable things. So yeah, give it the right information, and it's very powerful. Okay.
I think now we're going to jump on the last one, which is reporting. Oh, sorry, I missed that quote.
So the right opportunities and handling the right opportunities right. I guess the summary of that is that it's all about providing that experience at the right time. You can make mistakes with automations and workflows and AI if you don't have the right setup. So it does need to still be, it's not all AI is here, I don't need to do anything anymore. As we know, AI can do some pretty weird and wonderful things. And if you just trust it implicitly, it has pretty poor results. And I've seen so many job ads and posts and things like that where they've actually copy and pasted ChatGPT, and you can see the ChatGPT conversation in the post. So I guess just think about how we can, try to think about how you would answer these questions, solve your customers' problems at a top level, and then allow these tools to enable you.
And now, yes, reporting. So we were talking about data and information and having everything connected since the very beginning. And sometimes we think about marketing as something that is not really related to data, but I think now in digital marketing, we have no excuses we just don't do things because they feel like my work. We have actually a lot of data that we should be using to back up those decisions and to see what's working and what's not working. So HubSpot reporting brings so many options in terms of the things that you can track, but more than that, it just brings you a way to track everything together. So it's just very unlikely, this is something that we try to explain our customers a lot, is that it's very hard to say, oh, your business is doing well just because of this channel is performing. It's like really everything is sort of feeding together. It's really hard to identify something that works solely on its own. And I think HubSpot helps you to bring that visibility to it. There's a lot of reports. I mean, one of the easiest ones that we use is like the website traffic report. Basically, you can see all the different sources of the traffic that you got to your website. So you can see how much are you tracking from your social media posts, your ads, your emails, and you can see it all together. There's really a lot of options. Something that we use a lot with our clients, and this is another advantage of having HubSpot as a marketing platform linked to your CRM, is like if you connect your Google ads and your Facebook ads, you can actually see how many of those leads turn into customers. You can actually see the revenue, which is nowadays it's getting way more complex to show that value and that attribution. I think HubSpot brings that massive solution to business owners especially.
A nice way to think of it, I think, is not to say that that Facebook ad created that revenue, it contributed to that revenue.
Yeah.
So the customer came through that ad at some point, but more than likely, and particularly if you have a long buyer's journey, you're buying a car, you're buying a house, you would have engaged with multiple pieces of content. You might have seen a billboard, you might have heard a radio ad, you might have seen a social media post, you might have then been retargeted, you might have signed up for a guide, you might have then got a follow-up email, you might have registered for a masterclass. All of these things contributed to that revenue. So it's a common mistake that a lot of people getting into the CRM game make. It's very hard to pinpoint just one thing as the cause of your revenue. So don't be fooled into thinking because a Facebook ad says this, that's the only reason why we got customers. It's very much multi-touch. We know that people make, over 20 touch points on average before making a buying decision. So reporting, you do need to have that veil over the top of reporting.
All right, so we've got 10 minutes, so we need to speed up a little bit. We're going to share this presentation and you're also going to get the link to rewatch this session. But this we talk a little bit, so maybe we can skip it. So
smart content, we talked about it, yep, absolutely. So that was the showing the content to the right person at the right time, so don't just give them the same generic message.
Yeah, start with simple workflows. We talk about simple things and a really complex one. Basically, we don't want to scare you. You can start simple. For example, someone is registering to your newsletter, you can send them a welcome email straight away. That will be a simple workflow and a way to get started with it.
Great way to get started. And then you can build on that by maybe sending internal notifications to sales staff. And then maybe you might do that conditional logic where you say, well, if they've done this, do this instead. So A/B testing your CTAs or your call to actions. So what I was saying about, download a brochure, register for an event, make an inquiry, make a booking, test that wording. You can use the CTAs tool to trial the same wording and it just splits the traffic. So you might show one wording for one set and then the other might have a different color button. But the idea is that the data will tell us which one converts the best, which one is the most compelling. So you might experiment with professional language versus more quirky casual language. You might experiment with green buttons over orange buttons, things like that.
Use lead scoring early. So everything that Nathan explained before, just don't leave it to the last minute. Just remember that sooner you set this up, you're basically going to be able to identify your hot, warm leads, and then your sales team is going to be able to jump straight away into the right people.
Just in case anyone who's watching online, if there are any questions, we do welcome questions on the YouTube chat there. So if you do have anything, we might have a couple of minutes at the end to answer any. Repurposing content. I talked about some of the AI tools about remixing blog posts, things like that. But just on even on a non-HubSpot level, I love repurposing content. It's the best way to scale your content. So I might write a long piece article, but then turn that into an email campaign, social media post. I've taken on a bit of a personal challenge at the moment to write a blog every week, to make a video of that blog every week and to make some social media posts. So highly recommend repurposing your content. And HubSpot has some of those tools to help you do that.
Review dashboard weekly. So we're talking about reports before. So once you build up the reports with the key metrics that you want to keep an eye on, then you have the options to pick the most important reports and put them all together into a dashboard that you can easily access every time that you need. And we do really recommend just pick what is important for you to track, whether it's like website visits or like form submissions. Just combine them and keep an eye on it, because I think nowadays there's nothing more powerful that everything that you do is back up on actual data.
We'll talk about it more in our masterclass on the Sales Hub, but my favorite report is pitting salespeople against each other, because when they can see the line, which is their sales target, and if they're above or below the line, but they can see all their colleagues' reports right next to each other, that spurs people on. And we can automate, like we can email those dashboards to people on a periodic basis. So you might send it every Monday morning.
Not even for people, even us as account managers, we actually have a dashboard where we make sure to see how many times we call and got in touch with our clients, so we make sure that we're not missing anything.
Paola's saying that because she's the most active account manager.
I'm obsessed with that dashboard.
Yeah. Segment like a pro. So you're getting all this data, you're asking all these questions, you've collected it. You really got to use it. So lists is actually, it seems like a basic function, but it drives a lot of what you do in HubSpot. So build lists based on the data. So for example, registered for this masterclass, we have a list for that now. And we might use that later on to send emails to. We might use it to target for ads. We might use it for our call to actions. We might put something on our page, that's just for the next masterclass. So creating lists based on the data we've collected, and then you can really do some amazing things with it.
Well, as an example, the ads that we ran for this masterclass, one of the criteria is that we exported from HubSpot, our CRM, we exported everyone who visited our HubSpot pages within our website, and we used that list to feed into Facebook so they can find you, basically. Use social posting calendar. So this seems not as flashy, but we actually identified in our agency that sometimes the task that takes the most amount of time, for example, us, is scheduling posts. So HubSpot bring a great solution. So instead of me jumping, all right, I'm gonna need to schedule 30 posts on Facebook, and now I'm going to do the same thing on Instagram, and therefore waste more time, I can do all at once from the same platform, all together. So you can schedule for Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn.
Another one of those tools that I was paying for and didn't need to.
Yeah.
There's plenty of good ones out there. I'm not saying HubSpot social media is any better than the others, but it's all in the one place,
and it's very easy, and then you can also see all the information as well.
Track that performance of posts, how many contacts did that post create, link it to a campaign, all of those things. Connecting your ads to your CRM, similar vein. So to get a true return on investment, these ad platforms don't necessarily tell you. E-commerce businesses are probably better at it because they get the sale directly after someone clicks the ad. But if someone buys a house 12 months, 24 months after I got them to download a guide, there's no attribution in Google Ads that says, oh, this ad worked. But in HubSpot, we know that that contact was generated from that first activity, and later on, there was a deal that we marked it as a closed won deal, so we can attribute that sales revenue back to that initial marketing activity. So it gives you that full scope, that full picture, and as marketers, we love it because we can demonstrate the actual return on investment, but a business owner should want to know that. It's one of these things that most businesses don't have that data. Where are they getting their contacts from? Where are they getting these opportunities, and how much revenue are they closing per channel? They don't seem to know this, and HubSpot allows you to take care of all of that. So finally, I highly recommend the HubSpot. It's called the Customer Platform Starter Customer Platform. It gives you all of the hubs that I spoke about, the 5 hubs at the starter level. So it's a bit of a taster. It suits most small businesses, to be honest, and it's incredibly valuable for the cost. Right now it's on sale. I don't know why. It must be an end of financial year sale at HubSpot. $14 a month. I think it gives you 1,000 contacts that you can email, all of the sales pipelines, marketing forms, pop-ups, CTAs, all of those things. There's a few things that we talked about today that it doesn't do. So it doesn't do social media scheduling. It doesn't do advanced workflows. That's in the higher tier plans of HubSpot. But the starter plan is an excellent place to start. Add it to your website, start collecting data from your forms, add it to your social media channels so that any messaging coming through there comes into your CRM, and connect it to your email inbox. and just see. For that price, I think it's a worthwhile tool just to see the data. You don't even have to use the tools. Just start collecting data and you can start to connect the dots and see how things might work together. That's the real power, is getting everything into that CRM. The next stage up, if you do want to go into something a bit more serious, you want to do some automation, you want to do some of that conditional logic in the automations and more advanced flows, you want to use the social media scheduling tools, you need to go up to that professional plan. It is a little bit more expensive. It is quite the jump when the starter plan is so cheap. But you're also going to need to onboard. There's a bit more of a process of setting these things up. There are two options. You can do it yourself. You can pay HubSpot an onboarding fee and they will train you on how to configure HubSpot and run you through all of the tools, give you all of the guides. They have a really good online academy with lots of videos. So for those that are inclined to do things themselves, they have a tech resource, they have the time to do it, not a bad option. The other option is to do it for me, and that's for someone who doesn't have the time. They need it done faster and they need it done well. And that's where you would engage someone like us, who are a HubSpot partner. We get access to all of the latest releases that come out on the platform. We get access to engineers so we can craft solutions specifically for your business. So the benefit of that is probably our knowledge. You'll probably get things going and get your return on investment on the platform a lot faster if you engage a HubSpot partner. So either option. Today we're going to send a confirmation email to anyone who's registered today, whether they attend or not, offering you a free 20-minute setup phone call. So if you want to sign up for starter, there's even a free plan I haven't even mentioned. You can do a lot with a free plan. It just has powered by HubSpot on a lot of the things. But on the free plan, on the starter plan, or if you're considering a professional plan, we'll give you a free 20-minute call. We'll help you configure the platform, get it right for your business, and then give you any options to take it any further should you want to do that. So we'll send that link at the end of the meeting.
Yeah, and just to wrap up, first of all, thank you. I know that we are in the hour already, Mark, but basically to wrap up what I wanted to say, we know that this is a lot of information. Even me as a marketer, when I started in Pixel and I needed to train myself on HubSpot, it's a big platform and there's so much that you can do. So we don't want this to be intimidating, and actually it's really exciting, and you don't need to have everything sorted out straight away. You can start small and start simpler, but make sure that whatever you add is is set up correctly. So then HubSpot will let you, and it's just so easy to scale from that, right? And to me, as a marketer, I actually really enjoy using this platform that gives me so much visibility in data and being able to do everything and that we do for our clients through that. But as a business owner, and going back to the first masterclass that we did about the CRM, in my view, every lead, every contact that you have, everyone who approaches your company, client, it's valuable, and that is your asset, and that costs you money to get that information. Marketing Hub is a way to make sure that every penny that you spend trying to get that, you can just use it and not miss it and see the real value of having that connection. So we'll send the link with this masterclass to everyone, and now if anyone has any questions, we might have a little bit of time.
I genuinely hope that you too get that aha moment where you go, I wish I'd been doing this a long time ago. I think actually that might be all. We'll have to wrap up there. That's the full hour, so I want to respect your time. Thank you for joining us in work time, and stay tuned for our next masterclass in the next quarter. Thank you.
Thank you.